consulting that would outline exactly that. So the non-compliant issues that exist pertain to egress, which is of course the non-compliant path of travel through that area, the non-compliant stairs, and also water closets or washroom facilities in those areas. We are looking for your support to have Stantec Consulting develop that MOU, and that would again identify the scope of work. It would provide an opinion of probable cost, and it would also identify phases in which that work could be carried out. The cost of that undertaking is $20,996, and the funds will be derived from the General Operating Reserve.
Thank you. Discussion, questions? Councillor Creasy?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. I'm just curious if you could refresh my memory. How much space are we looking at here adding to the usable area up there?
To Councillor Creasy, we're not adding space. We would be utilizing the existing space.
I understand that. How much space we're looking at being compliant?
The entire area would become compliant if council were to carry out the renovations required. So this step in the process would get us to a point where we would identify the required renovations, at what cost and within what time frame. This certainly does not undertake the work itself.
I realize that you can say don't know if you don't know, it's fine. I'm just curious how much space we're looking at.
Do you know what the total floor area is of the second floor?
We're saying that the upper level, the lounge area and whatnot that the Curling Association operates, that's non-compliant as well?
It's mainly the arena upper lobby and the pool upper lobby that are non-compliant right now.
Thank you. And that total area would be approximately what?
I don't really have it off my head, but it's probably...
I guess the only reason I asked that would be nice to know, because while this $25,000 or 20 whatever it's $20,000 is certainly an overall look at the picture here, we have to consider that the recommendations they're going to bring forward are going to be very costly, and how much space we actually going to garner by doing this as an end result. And I'm just curious if we shouldn't look at the whole picture rather than just getting into a situation where we're going to spend a ton of money. What are we actually gaining?
To Councillor Creasy, at this time we certainly lease out that space to the before and after school care program. That will not be able to continue. We now know that the area does not meet code requirements. So I think we're also gaining a meeting space that the community is in dire need of. As we know, there's always a demand for meeting rooms. There's always a demand by community organizations for space. And it's certainly not a community hall, so it's not going to accommodate functions requiring a facility of that nature. But I know that the curling club has expressed interest in using it, certainly for the upcoming curling championships, and as it currently is today, it makes it difficult because of the non-compliant issues. I can't tell you the floor area, so unfortunately I don't have that number this evening.
Right, I mean, as far as this space, there's no possible way we're going to get this space usable and compliant for use for the curling club, for the provincials, if this is what the big push is. It's not going to happen. That's unreasonable to expect that to happen.
It's over 3 years that we went through different provincials.
And I can't tell you the entire scope of work or time frame. That's the reason for this review.
Councillor Kite?
Thank you, Mayor Christie. One question. We received a report of the necessary upgrades needed for this facility in 2011, I believe, before our 2012 capital budget was done. What's the difference between that report and the requirements that needed to be met versus what we're looking at right now as far as just the scope of work?
To Councillor Kites, the information that you received previously was in isolation of approval from Superior Safety Codes. We then entered into discussion with Superior Safety Codes in terms of when this work must be carried out. Normally when you commence construction and you're modifying an area that's not code compliant, you have to carry out all of the work that is necessary. We're negotiating carrying this work over a period of time. That was a missing piece previously.
So subsequent to that, then, they really don't need to identify what needs to be done anymore, it's just the order in which it will be done.
The additional piece of information will be an opinion of probable cost for that work. Yes.
Councillor Boswell?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. In terms of the safety of the areas, I think that's definitely important. I mean, it's very important. We are required by law to ensure that any usable area is safe. To reconstruct the space elsewhere in another building or whatever will probably end up costing more, I would expect, than to retrofit the space to make sure that it's compliant. So I think we need to go ahead with this particular item in our research and then address the cost accordingly at a later date. It'd be terrible to say that a portion of our building, which is not very old actually, and it's disappointing to know that it didn't comply from day one, that we'd have to just call it a day and shut her down.
We don't actually have to do any work on this to bring it up to code unless we begin doing some alterations or construction. It's no less compliant today than it was after the last construction was built, and it was approved at that point in time, correct?
To Councillor Creasy, we cannot continue to rent out this area in its current condition for public use. It does not have adequate egress. It does not have adequate, the stairs are non-compliant. So it's problematic for us to have the public assemble in that area given the code deficiencies.
Right, but the work that was done previous was done to code at the time of building. So we don't have to do anything to it unless we choose to do some revisions, additions, what have you, to the building.
Calvin, do you want to add to that? We'll just give you these. Well, remember there's nobody here.
What we also found out is because the minute we involved Superior, and by asking them to give us an opinion, we aren't up to code on the existing upper lobby unit. So it's just not the pool. It's because of the digression and the stairs and everything. Technically, they're saying we shouldn't be having anything upstairs or in either part.
So when the last construction was done, was it a different safety codes company that approved those drawings?
Yes, it was, and we questioned, and they said everybody can interpret a grandfathering clause,
Right.
and that was even the existing, when the pool was built on to the existing arena, it was grandfathered to that code that we were able to get by without, washroom facilities and stuff. So it's been all the way along that we've kind of always got a grandfather. We've got to the point now that we can't anymore. So we're officially, by making them aware, they're telling us we're non-compliant to host events or let them use upstairs. So,
No, right, and I can certainly appreciate that. But if it was grandfathered in the last time of construction and we haven't changed anything since, nothing has changed. We're still grandfathered then.
it's just we have a new inspection group. That we made,
It doesn't work that way.
we made them aware, asking them a question.
Until you change something, yes.
And that's the interpretation they've given us as they made it that we made them aware, and we did.
Councillor Bossman and Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor Christie. I think we have to keep in mind, and of course, without doing an absolute thorough research, it's kind of hard to make comments. I know that the pool was built, there was no common entrance at that particular point with the curling rink. The curling rink created their addition. I know that caused some little issues, and I have a feeling that's what some of those issues that we're incurring right now. It may not have been addressed at that particular point thoroughly by whoever was inspecting it at that particular point, and I just about guarantee it was non-compliant when that entranceway was constructed. So our reality is, okay, we got a problem, we're going to fix it, period.
Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor Christie. I think what I heard from Odie earlier was we don't know what that cost was without the new Superior thing, but there was a cost, and so rounding this whole thing out, I'm hearing that if we feel that spending $20,000 to know that we're gonna expend millions, I mean, we have no idea, but it'll be significant. And so we have to be responsible for what is the cost of the facilities. And at the end of the day, if the only thing that we have to do is close down that one little section, maybe reality is that. I mean, I hope not. I hope that we can do the whole thing and do it properly because we need the facilities. But reality may be that we have an area that we might not be able to use for after school. But that's, like, yeah, I totally agree with what Odie said. We knew that we needed all these things. Then we find out from Superior that, whoops, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of new things. But I think technically, and again, this is my opinion, I mean, it doesn't matter what Superior said. We are grandfathered in the curling rink. I mean, there was massive alterations or renovations that were done. So we're in a rock and a hard spot, that's for sure. There's no question. But we need to know. But I hate to spend $21,000 when it's going to be millions if we already know that.
Councillor Kite.
I'll make a motion that we approve the expenditure of $20,996 to facilitate a negotiated memorandum of understanding with Superior Safety Codes. The MOU will identify the scope of work, inclusive of an opinion of probable cost and the order in which phases will be completed. And that funds be procured from the General Operating Reserve.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thanks, Calvin.
Yep.
All right, 2011 to 2013 strategic plan. CEO McQuarrie.
Thank you, Mayor Christie. Before you this evening, Council, is the annual review of your strategic plan. And of course, within your plan, there are strategic priorities, and supporting those strategic priorities are strategic actions. This particular report identifies what actions have been carried out or are in progress and what has not yet been started. So what I'd like to do is just highlight what was initiated over the past year. I will not reference what was initiated or completed in the previous year. Just starting off with the municipal development plan. This will be presented to the timeline, budget, and process for this review will be presented to Council in August of 2013. That takes us to the land use bylaw. The administration is starting to earmark areas that require change within this bylaw. The full-scale review will commence upon the completion of the municipal development plan. And then we have the intermunicipal development plan with Lacombe County, and work on this plan will commence once the municipal development plan is complete. And this is the one initiative, so the one action item, a total of 41 action items within your plan. This is the one that will not commence at the end of the 2013 year. We then move into the Lacombe Recreation Master Plan. That is in progress, and that will be presented, the results of that will be presented to Council in September of 2013. We have what was the Heart of Town plan, is now the Downtown Area Redevelopment Plan, was completed. We have now moved on to architectural guidelines for the downtown area, and that particular review is in progress. As far as innovative neighborhood place-based design, we constructed a creative playground for Regency Park in 2013, and also will be installing outdoor fitness equipment around Crana Lake in the very near future. As far as the identification of land parcels for acquisition, 34 acres of industrial land were purchased, subdivided, rezoned, detailed design plans are complete. 10 acres, of course, is going to be retained for a public works yard, and 15 acres is being marketed for resale. And this, of course, helps with expanding our industrial base within the community. Meetings with our neighbor municipalities. Initiatives coming out of these meetings, and these meetings have taken place with Black Falls, certainly with Tasquin, Lacombe County. We have the Regional Transit Initiative, the Regional Wastewater Project, the Wolf Creek / Welt Brook Basin Study, and the Regional Recreation Project. Insofar as developing an integrated marketing and communication plan, in 2013 an administrative directive was adopted that clarified the procedure for internal and external content publications, how information is disseminated to the public. The next item that was addressed in the past year is the update of the city website. The new website, which I believe most of you previewed this evening, will be officially launched in August. Insofar as our social media sites, we have ever increasing traffic to those sites. So in the first year, the blog saw 19,200 views. Over the past year, that's increased to 66,625. Facebook has 475 likes versus 203 a year ago. The Twitter account has 745 followers versus 267 a year ago. And the YouTube channel has 2,465 views versus 1,160 a year ago. The annual strategic plan, of course, was reviewed 1 year ago, and this is the final review for this particular plan. There will be an undertaking to develop a new strategic plan, and that will start after our municipal general election this year. In terms of revisiting the public consultation policy, community services will lead the culture of consultation assessment, and that will be an internal assessment, and that will be later in this year. As far as the implementation of our new brand, certainly in 2013 trailhead signs were changed. There was a new city map installed at the Visitor Information Center. Signage within the Aquatic Center was updated to reflect the new brand, and city stationery also certainly has incorporated the new brand. Just speaking to the City Hall front entry, that has been upgraded. It's a improved media hosting site, and it offers a professional entryway for the public. The City of Lacombe Endowment Plan, the marketing design for Echo Lacombe was completed in 2013. In terms of the mayor's column, we now run a mayor's column in our 2 local newspapers, and the mayor is featured on Monday mornings with Sunny 94 with our local radio station. The redesigned utility newsletter, we have introduced the city pages in 2013 to replace our utility newsletter, and those pages seem to be very well received by the public. Coffee with Council events. In 2013, we successfully hosted 2. One was in conjunction with the Lacombe Lifestyle Expo and Marketplace Trade Show. Very successful in terms of capitalizing on the traffic at that event. And the fees and charges brochure was created in 2012 and updated in 2013. The parade float continues to have a presence at many parades across central Alberta, and our focus this year was to remain in central Alberta versus expanding out to other locations. The housing needs assessment to identify needs. We have awarded the RFP to Another Way consulting group, and certainly the results coming out of this review will enable us to be more proactive in approaching our senior level government officials. But whenever we do host meetings with these individuals, we certainly discuss our housing needs within the community. And we, as I mentioned, we're gathering data and information at this point in time, and that review will be brought back to council. In terms of the formulation of a municipal sustainability plan, the MSP, the public consultation phase, was completed. It was extremely successful in terms of the number of people that were reached. The information is being synthesized into common themes, and it will end being prioritized. So that is an ongoing undertaking. Our work with BioRefinex, the rezoning and subdivision on this land was completed. There is a current development application that has been received from BioRefinex. Just moving to working with community groups like LAPA and the Skate Park Committee. Certainly the indebtedness, the Skate Park Committee did repay their indebtedness to the city in 2013, and we continue to work with LAPA in terms of the ME Global Sports Field. Just speaking to a policy statement of future community strategic partnerships, Council did adopt a sponsorship policy in 2013 that further supports that. And the Performing Arts Center Foundation, there was a commitment made by Council in 2013 to hold land in abeyance for a 2-year term in support of this project. And of course, that project is being cooperatively undertaken with the child care group. The launch of a Shop Local campaign. We, the city, were providing a suite of services to promote a Shop Local philosophy, and that includes everything from training to events coordination and working in collaboration with local businesses on that. Preparation of a downtown renewal plan. As I mentioned, the project has had several steering committee meetings, stakeholder focus groups, and recommendations will be before council in September. The compilation of a community economic development plan. We're awaiting the completion of the municipal sustainability plan. However, we have commenced initial research, just laying the groundwork for this particular plan. That takes us to the municipal heritage project. The management phase 3, and the final phase is being addressed in 2013. The plan, the Heritage Management Plan, was adopted by Council in May, and under this we're looking at various grant options that might include heritage restoration, plaques, and educational workshops. Moving to the investments and viability of, or the investigation of the viability of a public transit system. The administration is now meeting with the City of Red Deer, Town of Black Falls on how we might acquire the capital equipment for this, working collaboratively, and that will be discussed with joint councils in August, so we're certainly coming forward with a plan there. Looking at the research of solid waste and recycling options. As you know, we've reopened the public consultation process, so we're doing extensive public consultation at this time, and the results of that will be presented to council in September. Then looking at the review of the city's offsite levy bylaw, Of course, that was adopted by Council in June of 2013, identifying future infrastructure requirements as the city continues to grow and expand. The implementation of an asset management program being an identified action. So certainly, we, the city, we now have a rich geographical information system. That system is referenced by many departments. The database for the system includes infrastructure like roads, trails, valves, manholes. It records each piece of infrastructure and the relevant information that pertains to each piece, like the size, the type, the expected service life. So it's giving us very meaningful data in terms of how we're going to maintain our infrastructure into the future. And as an example, this summer, all the city's concrete sidewalks, curb and gutter were inspected and rated on their condition, and that's all being entered into the GIS system. Just looking at the new federal wastewater regulation has come out. So certainly we know that once we reach a population threshold of 20,000, we're going to have to look at mechanical treatment. We're making every effort to develop a regional system versus having to do local treatments, and that makes the most economic sense and provides economy of scale. The review and revision of the municipal infrastructure plan. And so through the development of the offsite levy bylaw, we've identified upgrades to infrastructure or new infrastructure requirements, and that will be planned and certainly incorporated into the multi-year or the 10-year capital plan. And then we have the cemetery, of course. So tonight, council adopted the concept plan and moving that project forward, and the master design plan will be finalized. Just in summary, as I mentioned, there are 14 strategic actions under Council's 6 strategic priorities. 40 of those are completed or in progress. Well, the administration will spend the next 6 months just completing the initiatives that are underway. And I just want to acknowledge Council for your direction, and certainly the administration for their hard work and effort to ensure these actions were carried out. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, discussion? Councillor Kate?
I just want to get home. Anyway, I just, we had this conversation on Saturday night, but I just wanted to express my extreme satisfaction with our strategic plan that we did as council at the beginning of our term. Especially since this is the first time that we've actually had objectives and measured outcomes, and all of those are coming to pass. And huge kudos go to administration and staff, because they are the ones who are really making it happen. But we can see so clearly all the work that has been done and things that have been accomplished over the 3-year term. And so I just need to say thank you to everyone, and pat ourselves on the back too for actually having an action plan and it being measurable in real time. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Foster?
Ditto.
Let's go home.
Well, we got a ways to go yet. Okay, yeah, thanks. Just a motion to accept it for information and distribute to the public. Anybody want to make that? Councillor Connick?
I can make that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? So carried. Thank you. I will need a motion to take this meeting past 10 o'clock.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ruben.
You just have to vote on it.
All those in favor?
Oh, there you go, see?
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Okay, 2013 property tax cancellation requests. Director mentioned.
Where's that chocolate, Mayor?
Yeah.
That was the rule up to 10 o'clock.
Mayor Christie, so we'll deal with these individual, deal with each by resolution. Before you tonight are 2 separate tax cancellation requests. Both of these have administration support. These are both losses due to fire, which we have been presenting to council. The first one at 22 Lincoln Park, of course, the fire earlier this year in March. We are recommending that taxes be canceled up to, I believe it was March, for the building improvements itself. Again, this is the property that will be is in the process of being rebuilt, so we will capture some of the taxes this year and of course the taxes hopefully next year.
Thank you. Councillor Creasy.
I would so move the council approve the cancellation of a portion of the 2013 property taxes. You want the amounts and stuff too from there? In the amount of $1,493.40 for the property known as 22 Lincoln Park Boulevard.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? So carried.
Second item deals with a industrial building in 45th Street. This is actually to correct an error. The assessor should have actually zeroed this assessment out as part of taxes for the year for the improvement. And so we are asking that council approve a write-off for the full amount for the full year for the improvement side.
Thank you. Councillor Connick.
I also move that council approve the cancellation. Well, it says a portion here.
Yeah, you don't have to cancel that.
Oh, okay. Cancellation of a portion of the 2013 property taxes in the amount of $1,433.06 for the property described as 4740 45th Street.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? So carried. Thank you. Residential subclass tax rate. Director Minchin.
So this is an interesting topic. This was the original proposal put forward by the condo association that heard you earlier tonight. Obviously the topic changed slightly. We've done the analysis on whether this should be needed or not. Certainly either accept the report, certainly should accept the report as information. I'm not sure if we need any more direction at tax rates at this time.
Councillor Creasy.
Thanks, Mayor Chrissy. I just was going to say, I mean, certainly those folks have got some issues on their hands, and I feel for them. I'm not totally sold on the city's involvement, but I just, as far as this whole tax rate thing to make special rates and whatnot, I'm not in favor for this. Anybody else, that's a slippery slope. And I guess the one thing that I picked up in some of their ratings was that they felt that they basically were overpaying because they didn't receive certain services and whatnot. Well, I mean, let's face it, we all think we pay too much taxes at all levels. The simple fact of the matter is we don't necessarily pay taxes only for that portion of the city in front of our own homes. It goes for a whole host of other things, which in fact they are as much a part of as anybody else. So that was all that was on my mind about it. I just thought it was a dangerous step forward.
Thank you. Councillor Connick.
I would so move that we accept the report as information.
Thank you. All those in favor? So carried. Protective Services Emergency Management Plan. Director Mitchell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not going to quiz everyone to see if they read the entire document. I did on TV, Thursday last week. So before you tonight is the final draft of the updated Lacombe Emergency Management Plan. This is a requirement under the Act and the extension of our existing emergency management bylaw. This is a similar plan that is already in place in the other 12 municipalities that make up the Lacombe Regional Emergency Management Plan. And I don't take my word on it. This has been presented to the Emergency Advisory Committee, which is a member of the Committee of Council, which includes Mayor Christie and Councillors Bozma and Rampel, and we've been through that review as well.
Thank you. Councillor Rampel.
I move that council approve the City of Lacombe Emergency Management Plan, Policy 24.210.02, 2013, and annexes presented.
Thank you. All those in favor? So carried.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question, being around emergency preparedness?
Yep.
I had one elderly individual question me, and I didn't have an answer. She was on about the emergency siren beacon, or siren rather, and I was curious if we still have one. I said, I know we used to, but I said, I have no idea if we still do.
We don't. Some places still do. The challenge you have with that is you can ring it and people aren't quite sure what it's for, because depending on the municipality. In the United States, they're used extensively in the Midwest, almost exclusively for tornado warnings. And that's because of the frequency of the tornado.
I don't think it was any surprise why she called me on it after the events on Saturday, but I was just curious, so we had one, I said I would look into it, so thank you for that.
And just as a comment, we did issue after the event, because it hit that quick, Environment Canada couldn't even issue the emergency or a hail warning in time. We did issue an alert on our social media and on our various emergency alert system, but because it wasn't life or death, it wasn't issued critical, and so it did not interrupt any of the media. So that's why you wouldn't see those, and typically we would only issue those in terms of in case of an actual tornado warning, and Environment Canada would issue that. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Craig?
I have a question on the same vein from the Saturday storm. So what is that process? Like, I saw that the city crews were already cleaning the, fallen trees and the stuff on Sunday. So how does that come about when something like that happens, when it's not an emergency, but it still disrupts traffic and things like that? So then what do you do?
Well, it's still an emergency for us, but so there are 5 levels of emergency that we have in the community. This probably ranks